Hi, this is Nicholas Tutora, and welcome to another episode of Tutora Time. Today is December 9th, Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. And, well, right now in the news, started yesterday, the state of Texas filed a lawsuit against Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Georgia in order to challenge the election results in that state. About 17 other states have joined in with Texas in that lawsuit. So I guess don't mess with Texas is one of the takeaways. Even though I'm originally from New York and now I reside in Arizona for about 16, 17 years. But at least Texas is out there doing the right thing. So the crux of the lawsuit is basically that Texas ran their states legally according to their state constitutions, and the other states did not, and therefore there's an equal protection issue. Basically, saying that if you didn't run your state's elections legally according to state law, then you're watering down the true result, the voters in Texas. About 17 other states have joined this lawsuit, and I think it's very valid. If Trump won, which I believe he did. Trump won the election, and everybody in Texas, voted for Trump, and he's carrying those electoral votes. And now you have states that didn't apply their state law, and that is undermining the election result. Well, that's certainly an equal protection issue. Some states are following the law, other states are not. I certainly hope the Supreme Court takes this case. If not, I really don't know what their purpose is. Truthfully, I mean, the suit here has original jurisdiction in the Supreme Court. So states suing states, they don't have to go through the lower courts. The Supreme Court is the originating court, so they should hear it on that ground. Plus, obviously, they're aware there's a national election going on where there's a lot of questions around it, and they are the arbiters. They are the ones to hear the information, to hear the evidence, and to weigh the case. So, and I also know Donald Trump as a candidate has joined in, and that makes perfect sense because as a candidate, you run a race, you want to make sure that at least the laws of the race and everything is authentic and valid. So we'll follow that as that story unfolds. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is a story that I saw out of Michigan. Michigan State Representative Cynthia Johnson. She was on the panel the other day when Rudy and all the witnesses were testifying. And today she basically threatened Trump supporters online. It was a very thinly veiled threat of physical violence that we're not going to take it. You guys are walking a fine line. Her exact words I don't recall, but it was enough that she received, total condemnation from everyone. My understanding is that she was stripped of her committee in the Michigan state legislature. So, and then also yesterday at the same time, there was a new district attorney sworn in LA, and the first thing he said was that certain misdemeanors, trespassing, resisting arrest, soliciting for prostitution, drug paraphernalia, there's a lot. The list is very long, but all of these misdemeanors are not even going to be charged. He's instructing the DAs to basically toss out those cases unless there's some kind of mitigating circumstances. So basically, they're giving criminals license to threaten, to intimidate, to bully, with no chance of being held to account for it by the law. And at the same time, they want to criminalize decent people. Look, this is what I've been saying all along, and now you're seeing it in action. All right. We hear a lot about multiculturalism. It's like something that everybody just accepts and doesn't even question the validity of it or not. Okay, multiculturalism. Let's celebrate other people's cultures. Let's have a food fair, concerts, or music, or art, or anything. I totally want to hear about everybody's culture. Let them hear about mine. I like American culture per se, But, there's nothing wrong with having your people's history out. However, there's one culture that we cannot share, and that's a political culture. The United States, up until today, has always had a decent political culture where there's real thought, there's real debate, there's real back and forth. These cultures of other societies, they're corrupt. Their political cultures are corrupt. That's why people came here in the first place, whether it was my family from Italy, people from South America, Africa, India, Asia. They know what corrupt political cultures are like. We can't incorporate corrupt political cultures into our culture, and that's what's happening now. You have a representative threatening violence against Trump supporters. That's insane. And in LA, they want good citizens in a mask, not leaving their house, locking down their businesses. They're arresting people for opening their businesses in New York and other places. But at the same time, they are allowing criminals to roam free. So I have this really strange question that's kind of been gnawing away at me. They like to shout, the left likes to shout, systemic racism for everything. Systemic racism, and the police are racist and systemically racist and all this kind of nonsense. So now the people who promote that are starting to come out with policies because they're getting into positions of power. How, I don't know, but okay, they are. And let's look at what they're doing. I guess they consider enforcing trespassing racist. I guess they consider resisting arrest being a crime, like you're allowed. If you resist arrest, that's a racist. You're racist or try to arrest somebody. I guess prostitution, enforcing laws against prostitution and drug paraphernalia and things like this are all racist. So I don't exactly understand the point. Are they saying that certain classes of people, certain races, certain ethnicities, must do these illegal things? And if we call people out on it, then we're racist? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, what does criminal behavior have to do with racism? There's a lot of abuse that goes on in certain places. There's a lot of subconscious abuse. A lot of rap music, a lot of the lyrics are so misogynistic. They're violent. They're hateful towards women. They're disgusting towards women. And that's, I guess, considered culture. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how that's culture. So, are we saying that these things have to be celebrated as equal? People who obey the law are the same as people who threaten violence against people? Is this the culture that Cynthia Johnson, Michigan State Representative, wants, that we threaten people, that we're violent towards people? Is this what she's condoning? I'm not sure. We cannot condone violence and thuggery, basically. And if you listen to all the stories of the 2020 election from the poll watchers, they were being bullied. They were being pushed out of the polling places. They, being surrounded and harassed. It's like a BLM or an Antifa rally. We don't need to promote that kind of behavior. That's not acceptable behavior. We can't have intimidation and thuggery be part of our elected bodies. We can't, as citizens, have to worry that if somebody breaks into our home and we defend ourselves, that we're going to become the criminals. They're forcing you to be a sitting duck. I mean, look, in the black community, 75% of children are born into a single parent home. The father is not present. Is that just a cultural choice? Is that a cultural choice that we're now supposed to accept? And if we say, that's wrong, people should be fathering their children, people should be raising their children, you shouldn't just be going and making babies and then, abandoning people, abandoning the woman. Is that Is that somehow racist to say? These are not racial issues, okay? These are not racial issues. And it's not about black and white or color versus non color, whatever that means, because all people have color. White people have color. I don't see any transparent people walking around. It's not about color. And it's not about Republican and Democrat. Well, but it's really about decent people versus indecent people. Not every behavior is a good behavior. Not every behavior is decent behavior. Not every behavior is worthy of committing. So, are we just supposed to be silent while they criminalize us? And that is exactly what's going on. They criminalize the act of breathing. You're supposed to be wearing a mask. They want mask mandates. And if you don't follow along, they're going to fine you. They're going to arrest you. They're going to close down your business. But at the same time, low-level thugs are walking around committing violent crime all over the place. The crime rate is spiking as a result of everything that's been going on, the defund the police movement. And defund the police, don't forget, defund police, really what it means is not get rid of the police, it means change the police. They want the police force run by the criminals. They did this as much in Seattle. They put like an ex-gang member as a community liaison for like 150 grand a year. What's going to happen when a decent person calls the police and the police that show up at your door are criminals and thugs? What's going to happen then? We're really looking at some serious times here in the United States, and we have to push back. We have to stop cowering about this narrative of racism. They're never going to let go of this narrative, no matter what people say. They're always going to call us racist. So we have to just ignore it, basically. And somebody has to be willing to be the person to get out there and start speaking this. And I'm sorry, we have to do it. I have to do it. You have to do it. We cannot let ourselves be branded by certain words. They're just using race as a way to separate and divide people so they can push their agenda through. And if you push back, instead of being a person with an opposing view, you're some kind of racist. The whole thing is ridiculous. The whole thing is absurd. And we have to call them out. We have to call them out for what it is and the way it is. So when you see people in the news and these Democrat leaders who have made these kinds of statements, you should get on the phone, you should call, you should let them know how you feel, and you should all be doing this consistently. All right, I'll talk to you another time on another episode of Tutora Time. Take care.